Hi, welcome to Bipolar Afterthoughts. Today I want to discuss what people expect from those of us who have a mental illness. Whether that mental illness be bipolar disorder or depression or anxiety, um, all of them carry some sort of stigma around it, essentially. And it's really weird because you see posts on Facebook and Instagram saying like, oh, if you're fighting this battle daily, in your mind, hats off to you because it is such a hard battle. And that is true. But, it's counterintuitive when you run into people who are like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you act this way? Why are you reacting in such a manner that you are? And I've come across this a lot. I mean, I've been through a lot, and I was going through a lot, which is why it's been a while since my last video. But what I've covered on this channel and what people know about my past is about probably 15% of what I've gone through, unless there are two people who know more than that. And I don't need to tell anyone anything, really. I don't even need to tell people what I'm diagnosed with. They should just respect that everyone's journey in life is different and how we go about it is different. But they can't, unfortunately. And a group of those people happen to be in my blood family, as well as people in my family that, is by marriage. So, I mean, a lot of it comes from information that is not real, false information. And a lot of it comes from just these misconceptions. As I said earlier, there are false notions about what it means to be bipolar, what it means to have borderline anxiety, depression, all of that. And it looks different for every single person, and it's a spectrum. There are things that people deal with all the time, and it's like, oh, you have bipolar disorder and you can't seem to function properly. I mean, well, look at that person, they have bipolar disorder, they're functioning just fine. And it's like, well, you don't really know that just because they're able to hold down a job and get up and, do the dishes or whatever it may be, does not mean they're doing fine. And that does not mean that applies to everyone else. Now, the thing that bothers me the most, that is a drawback for me, is my PTSD and my anxiety. Now, I have been, and my addiction, and now I have been through a lot, as previously stated, and I don't feel that support, especially from my in-laws, for instance. They're constantly kind of asking my husband, why isn't he doing this? Why doesn't he do that? It was worse before, but the truth of the matter, the truth of the matter is that they are just not well educated, and they may have been previously, but that would have been, maybe the early 2000s or mid 2000s. We have come a long way, and there's still a lot that we do not know about mental health. So to think that, okay, yeah, I've read a lot about this, and even if that were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, well, guess what? Things constantly change. And I really dislike it when someone makes an assumption about me based off of my mental illnesses and they don't discuss it with me. They just assume it's what's happening. Oh, it's just because you're lazy. Oh, it's because blah, blah, blah. Truth of the matter is, I go to therapy. I try out medications. I do meditation, or I used to do meditation. And that's that, I do what I can, and every single day I am trying to get better. And I try to not let other people's opinions about me affect how I go about my life. But I'm human, and it can hurt, even if it's something very small. Like, if I do something and I feel uplifted because I managed to finally do that something, whatever that thing may be, even if it's small, like washing the dishes, boom, I get, like, oh, he's not doing this. And I already have all that in my head. I already have, oh, I shit talk myself all the time. And that's not conducive whatsoever. That is not helpful. It's not other people saying it is not helpful, and of course me saying it to myself is the most harmful. But hearing it constantly is the biggest issue, and I think that a lot of us can relate to something like that. Even if you don't have clinical depression, if you've felt it, if you've had depression, you know what that's like. You know how debilitating it can be at times. And with someone who's constantly trying new medications, because medications don't seem to really work with me, I'm very sensitive to them, so I suffer from a lot of the side effects, and that can leave me immobilized, essentially. You know, I'm just in bed for days or whatnot, and I don't know, you know, I'm trying. I am doing my best, and that's really all they need to know. And with that, and knowing with what little they do about what I've gone through, I feel I should be more supported, because that's what everyone needs, right? Is support. And criticism, it can be supportive, but not the way that a lot of people go about it, especially in regards to what I am discussing. You know, it's just ridiculous, honestly, the expectations placed upon everyone, not just those with mental health issues, but everyone. And, you know, my therapist the other day talked about how, of course, she knows a lot about my life. I've been in therapy since I was 13. Took a 3-year break. Therapy is great for everyone. Highly recommend. But she commented on the fact of how far I've come, because I recently started seeing my therapist that I saw from the age of 13 to 17. And, you know, from the life I had growing up, who I grew up around, the environment I was in, to be able to be where I'm at today is, in her words, very amazing. And a testament to how much I strive to better myself. I have made a ton of progress. I'm about to hit 8 months sober from alcohol. There it is. That's what I am addicted to. And I published my book. More on that later. And I'm working on my second book. There is a lag because of, you know, my last video, Father's Day Without a Father. I've not gotten over grief. I don't think you ever get over grief, you know, but I have come a long way. And with that being said, there's been other things that have occurred with my family, my blood family, that I am not okay with, not happy with. But I am done with the whole self-pitying thing. I'm trying my best, you know. It's kind of part of that victim mentality, which is another thing I wanted to get into. That is a normal response in the process of healing, is to have that victim mentality, whether you are angry, whether you are self-pitying, whether you are not getting out of bed, you know, any response to trauma or really anything is ultimately valid to an extent, of course, but it's there, right? And to criticize someone for that, when you don't know what they've been through, when you are not them, it's just absurd. And, you know, there will be more videos that talk about the specifics of what I went through. And it's the root cause of my PTSD. And yeah, what I've touched on this channel so far, that's the light stuff that's happened in my life. That's the easiest stuff to talk about, which was still very difficult. So there's that. And one thing that really got me through, though, was like my book. I've always wanted to be a published author since the age of 5. Now I am at the age of 24. And I published it on the 1-year anniversary of my dad's death, because he wanted me to be a writer, because he saw the potential in that. And that's going to be a separate video, but that's a huge accomplishment, and, you know, people recognized it. Great. Not like I want them to worship at my feet, you know, not that that would be awful, but no, just kidding, of course. But you know, it just kind of gets swept under the rug, and then it's like, oh, you're sober for 7 months, great job for that day, and then it's just kind of like, okay, but what else? What else are you gonna do? You need to do more. You need to do better. You need to, you know, it just goes on and on and on. And my in-laws have kind of quieted that voice, but it's still somewhat there, and I don't mean to be rude to them. They are amazing people. I just wish that they would talk with me and try to better understand where I'm coming from and not, essentially constantly say that I'm doing nothing and my husband's doing everything, because that is not the case. That is far from the case. And, yeah, I used to be very angry and want to get revenge on my abusers. Another common thing to happen when you're trying to heal. It's just, and I've not always been fun around, it's been like depressing. I keep talking about the same subject over and over, especially about my dad's death, and that made a friend kind of just ghost me. And she knew, since I have borderline personality disorder, she knew that, like, that's something that really deeply affects me. I've done a lot of work on that though, so it's not as bad, but she did it once before, and then I asked her, okay, well, if you need to take a break from me or anything, can you let me know? Is that something you can do? And she said, totally. But then proceeded to do it again without letting me know. And so that kind of triggered me. But again, therapy, thank God for therapy. And I'm just going to continue to do better. With what I've gone through, I am a survivor. And I'm going to be a thriver. I'm going to get to the place where I'm going to thrive. Now, I am currently in the bouts of a depression, of course. Yay, depression. Who doesn't love that shit, right? But, so it seems very far off. But I will be there. And I know I am a fighter, because there's no way I would have gone through everything I've gone through and be at where I'm at today if I was not a fighter. And anyone out there who is battling with their inner demons, or has a mental illness or any kind of disability, which I even hate that word disability, but you know what I mean. You are a fighter. And if people don't recognize that, if people think you're not doing enough, just try to remember that they don't know you fully. They don't know your full story. And even if you do decide to tell them your full story and they're still like, okay, but there's this person over here and, they're doing that. No, like, just drop them, because that's not okay. It's absolutely not okay. And it's not healthy. And you need to cut toxic people out of your life. Give them, like, maybe one, maybe two chances, but after that, no. Like, you need to take people as they are. And with that, yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of an update. I'm going to go to a concert, my first ever concert on the 25th with my husband and my best friend. That's going to be fucking fun. And, the other stuff is a bit more, not for this video, anyway. I know I ramble a lot, and I know that I am kind of awkward on camera. I do way better when I have a guest on, if you've seen those videos. I don't know why, I love being an interviewer. But, another thing to mention, I can't wait for the fall, mostly because, that's where my birthday is. I'm about to turn 25, and also, most of my clothes are fall/winter spring wear, and they look really, really great. Yeah, I don't really have much for summer, unfortunately. I'm gonna try to change that. But just remember, like I said earlier, I can't stress this enough, you are a fighter, you can get through this, and there is always help, which is such a cliche thing to say. And I know that when I always heard that when I was really low, I thought, that's bullshit. But, or like, oh, okay, easy for you to say, or, something along those lines. But it is true, and even with this darkness that is kind of clouding my mind, I know that that's there. And the thought of being a person, a greater person, is what keeps me trying to be a greater person. And yes, that's a quote from somewhere, can't remember where, but it's so true. And yeah, so just remember to try to, if you can't love yourself, try to accept yourself. If you can't accept yourself, a lot of things that help are bridge statements, instead of like, oh, I love myself, which is maybe not true for you. You could be like, it's possible that I'm not such a bad person that I think I am. That's really helpful. And also remember, like, you started down here, think of a spiral, right? And the spiral, you go up, and then you kind of like go down, but you're not down here. So the spiral starts down here, you go up, and then you feel a low right here, and it feels like the slow down here, but it's not. It's not. And you're still recovering, because recovery for anything, or even getting better for everything, is not a one-step, straight, narrow thing. And some people who have criticized me for certain things, I find it a little ironic and hypocritical. But, you know, at the end of the day, I've just got to remind myself, I've got this. Look at everything I've been through, and look at where I am now. And I have healthy relationships for the most part. I try my best to be a healthy person and supportive. And one thing I'm struggling with right now is I seem to be on the attack. Like, I get very irritated easily right now. I'm trying to manage that, and I will manage it. And I will get through this depression. And I hope that you know that you will too. Whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, PTSD, addiction, it is always possible to get better. And so this has just been a quick bipolar afterthought for you. Okay. Please like, subscribe, and you know what? Fuck it. Share. And hope you have a good